What is up, everyone, and welcome back to the Talk Footy podcast. My name is Harry Hicks, and I am joined by Max Botcher and Thomas McKeon. Gentlemen, welcome. How are you guys doing today?
What up?
I'm doing wonderful, Harry. Great to be here.
How has your week been going?
It's been great. I watched some soccer.
You held on to that G.
It's been great. Yeah, sorry, I was just warming up today. Yeah, I'm good. How are you guys?
You watched some soccer. What'd you watch?
Well, should I just jump into it?
Let's
A little
get
roundup.
into it. I don't really want to catch up. I don't want to know how you guys are doing.
I don't care
I want to hear
about
about the soccer.
Okay, so over the weekend it was the Community Shield, the renowned Community Shield, the biggest trophy in the world. It was Manchester City versus Liverpool, the winner of the league versus the winner of the FA Cup. And they both put out pretty strong lineups. Not surprising because it's such a big trophy. I don't know why I said that. And it was a classic battle between Man City and Liverpool. But Liverpool finished their chances with Salah scoring a goal and a penalty, and Darwin Nunez with his first big start for Liverpool, putting one away. And on the other side, City had their chances, but Haaland missed kind of a sitter, a pretty big chance. And they had a couple other chances they couldn't put away. So another classic City, Liverpool, one for the ages, but a Liverpool game.
You want to hear a little insight into my viewing experience of that game?
Yeah.
Well,
You're at the Raging Bull?
I was, yeah.
Oh my God,
in line
yeah.
at Six Flags.
Right.
I think I was waiting for the Goliath. And the line was pretty long, so I, sponsored by YouTube TV, pulled it up on my phone and watched Julian Alvarez score. And then I got on the ride.
That's awesome.
So I watched about 2 minutes of it and saw
the goal?
Yeah, saw the goal, saw the contentious.
The joys
goal.
Of modern technology.
I know. It was good. I didn't have to talk to
That's
Bank
intuition.
a little bit. Yeah.
Intuition. You knew they were going to score.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. We had the Euro finals of England versus Germany. England 2-1 victory. First large cup for England since 1966.
It's going to go straight to their head.
I know.
I was
Cool
so
thing,
ready.
it was the largest crowd in Euro finals history between men and women's, with only 8 seats out of Wembley's 90,000 empty.
My God.
Pretty cool.
That's crazy.
It was a cheeky finish from Ella Toon to put the Lionesses up in the first half. Germany had a really good equalizer in the 79th minute, a really well-worked goal. But then it went to extra time, and after the ball was bouncing in the area, Chloe Kelly secured the victory.
Was the game in England?
Yeah, Wembley.
Yeah, that's so sick.
I was ready to say, like, death. There are 3 things certain: death, taxes, and England losing at Wembley.
Especially after the equalizer.
I thought Germany was dominating. They dominated, I thought, the whole game, and they didn't have their star player. But, yeah, good for England. I mean, that's so hyped to win it at home.
Yeah, and I think so the winner of the Euros and then the winner of the World Cup, the U.S., are going to play, I think it's like November 7th.
Yeah.
We'll see how good my memory is there, but that'll also be a pretty good. I don't know if it's called the
Finalissima or something.
Finalissima, yeah. Which we had Argentina and France just do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Argentina, France.
So that'll be pretty cool to watch also.
Oh wait, no, it was Italy, Argentina.
Italy, Argentina, yeah, because World Cup or Euros and CONCACAF. I don't know. Well, those 2 teams are going to play.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Anyway, moving on to incredibly exciting news out of Arsenal. Bernd Leno leaving to Fulham. Is that how you say his name? Bernd Leno?
Yeah.
FIFA 16 legend Bernd Leno off to Fulham for only $8 million. So good signing. I feel
a good signing for Fulham.
Yeah, great signing for Fulham. Jota extended to 2027, so he's going to be at Liverpool. So exciting for him. Kasper Schmeichel and Aaron Ramsey are off to Nice. So that's kind of exciting. They're building a kind of a older squad, but both good players.
Who's Leicester going to have for their goalie? They might have to sign someone new.
Yeah.
I don't know who their backup is.
Surprisingly, I didn't think Kasper Schmeichel was ever that good. The stats, the post-shot expected goal stats for him, not great.
Yeah.
And I feel like he had that. His dad was one of the goalkeepers, and he had that living in that shadow, never could live up to it. He had a good career in the Premier League. He's off to Nice. And finally, Idrissa Gana Gueye to Everton, back to Everton, actually. I think Everton sold to him to PSG for like 30 million 5 or so years ago, and now he's back for 8 million. Pretty good signing. One of the first signings for Everton of the transfer window.
They'll have a pretty, I mean, on paper, pretty decent midfield with Decore, Allen, kind of Gay now. I think it's like a decent midfield.
Yeah.
Totally forgot about Allen.
Van de Beek still there?
No,
he's back.
He's back. But it'll be interesting. I mean, obviously, on paper it doesn't really mean much. We saw how Everton did last year, so we'll see if
maybe
he's what they need. I don't know if he. They're going to need someone else. They sold Richarlison, who was kind of the heart of that team and really carried them over the line towards the end of the last season. So they might need another signing. I mean, it would be a more offensive one as well because you had just mentioned they had Tarkowski coming from Burnley as well, a defender, which is a good signing, I think. Got him on a free. But yeah, I think they'll need some offensive reinforcements.
Some offensive power.
Yeah.
That's all I had. It was a pretty slow week. Do you guys have any transfers you saw?
Phil Foden signed a new deal.
Oh, that's exciting. Cementing his spot.
I was like kind of sad to see that because I kind of want to see Phil Foden at another team, honestly. I think City holds back their stars, if I'm being honest. Because I think they have so many stars, it's impossible for any of them to be world class.
Phil Foden should go to Everton.
And I think if Foden played on like a Madrid, like he can be the guy. Like he can be the guy at a lot of these other clubs.
But I don't know. Like I think Man City. I don't know if I would say they hold back their stars. I think they're still so fun to watch, and like it means they don't have like the man or whatever, the go-to guy. But like Kevin De Bruyne still like sticks out, and he's one of the best players in the world, and he still sticks out every game on that team. And I think Foden, he could go to Real Madrid and be kind of the number one, but I don't think he's not a star or something, or not like, I don't know. I don't think his career is like halted from staying at City.
Yeah.
Because he can still be that good, and he can still win trophies. Now, if you wanted to win the Champions League,
that's true.
You can't stay there. But
yeah, he'll never win the Champions League now. Poor guy. Yeah. Poor guy.
I think the only other one I saw, because it was a slow week, but I was keeping tabs on Chelsea rumors. I saw some rumors surrounding Wesley Fofana, which would be kind of interesting. They were talking about including Levi Colwell on that deal, coming from Chelsea, as well as that Gaga Slonina coming from Chicago Fire.
Oh, huge.
Got signed to Chelsea. On a 6-year deal for 15 mil, but he's 17 maybe.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So that's Kepa 2.0, just for they're not putting out as much money, which is probably good. And then similarly, I think Kepa, his agent was meeting with representatives from Napoli, so that could be out the door as well.
Well, now they have a replacement. So aren't Chelsea looking at like Cucurella, or they're trying to like?
That's the other one. Yeah.
And they're like competing with Barcelona again.
I think they were competing with City. That's been like
really?
Pep's number one target from like this whole.
But then
to get Cucurella.
I saw City were like not hiring their offer anymore, like over 40 mil or something.
Right.
And then I saw Barcelona is now interested.
No way.
So I'm like, what's going on?
Oh.
Because Barcelona were interested in Marcus Alonso.
Yeah.
Too. And then I think that has stalled or something. Nothing's happened. But now they're interested in Cucurella.
Yeah, well, Chelsea better lock that down because they've been pretty poor this window so far, just with getting involved in all these rumors and not really closing any of them out. So
yeah,
we'll see. And obviously the season starts this week, so they're kind of behind the ball if they're actually going to try to bring other players in, because those players are going to have no preseason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. I saw Domino's tweet like there's been 820 something thousand pizzas delivered since Chelsea last signed a player.
Why is Domino's?
I was like, what is going on? It was like Domino's UK. I was like,
that's some bands.
I was like, what is going on?
That. Yeah.
But
corporate Twitter is fun.
Yeah, I love seeing these brands getting involved. All right, main segment, top 5 leagues. Who will finish top 4? These are my predictions. You guys can come at me.
How are you gonna? What's your method to go about this?
I was just gonna go league by league. We can start with the least competitive league.
Start and then go. Say you're fourth. Like don't list them all out at once. I want a little anticipation.
Okay.
Let's list them one by one. We'll have a little discussion in there and then.
So least competitive league in my eyes is Ligue 1 in France.
Yeah, just read this off. I
Okay, yeah, I can just read this one off. I mean, PSG dominated last year, back to their 15-point lead after losing the year before. So they're back to dominating. And they made some transfers. I mean, they lost Di Maria. They're adding Vitinha. Let's see. They have a new coach, right? And they obviously re-signed.
He coached from...
He was like at Saint Etienne, some smaller French teams.
Okay.
And then he was at Nice, I believe,
Nice.
too.
Yeah.
Nice it was Nice.
Okay.
So that'll be interesting. Dominated last year. I expect that same thing, same domination.
Well, I'm kind of interested to see PSG over these next couple of years, since obviously what they've been doing hasn't been working. And I know their management or ownership has talked about now they're going to kind of switch around their style. They're not going to sign Cristiano Ronaldo just because he's available and he's a big player and they have the money. They're going to actually try to be smart about who they're signing and build a team rather than just like a collection of stars. So it will be interesting if they're able to accomplish that, honestly.
Yeah.
Since they do kind of have an uphill battle for forming like a collective team. Obviously, they don't have an uphill battle collecting a good team or a team of good players, but they really need to kind of come together as a group and play together well. So I'm interested to see, honestly, how they play this season. And I'm also curious to see Messi, how he plays. Has his footing a little bit in France now. So
Yeah, that'll be big. I want to see PSG start developing players like that. When have they developed players?
Yeah.
Like Xavi Simons
Nkunku
was like that guy. And Nkunku left and then thrived. Coman was there, left and is a star player now. I mean, Mbappe got there when he was 18, but he was already a star at Monaco, I would argue. So PSG, I see them dominating. They scored 90 goals last year, which is ridiculous. What I thought was interesting is Rennes scored 82 goals.
Wow.
Everyone else scored in the 60s or the 50s. Rennes scored 82 goals, and I was like, where are these goals coming from? 3 goal scorers scoring in double digits, and there's this one guy called Martin Terrier scored 21 goals.
Hey.
And I looked up his highlights, and he's insane. Underrated passer. I was like, who is this guy? I've never heard of him.
Yeah, I wonder why we haven't.
He's 25 years old. So I feel like League 1, I hear a lot of Mbappe, PSG players, and Ben Yedder. And that's it. So keep your eye on this guy.
Tchouameni and Camavinga came out of there. But yeah, I don't hear that many goal scorers.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting. Top 4. Fourth, I have Rennes. I have them. They lost their striker to Bayern. 3, I have Monaco. I feel like they're always up there. I mean, there's.
I feel like they have. Oh, maybe. I don't know. I feel like. I mean, honestly, I don't really know that much about League 1.
That's me neither.
Yeah. This is just theorizing.
This is just guessing.
All right, then go ahead.
2, I have Lyon. Lyon's made some moves. Tolisso, Lacazette.
He scored the other day. That was kind of nice.
Lacazette did?
On his return, yeah.
Tagliafico there. So
Oh, really?
I think
That's interesting.
which is that's super
That's a good
interesting.
signing.
So I think they'll finish second, besides PSG, obviously, and first. So that rounds it up. Any arguments?
Nope.
Cannot.
We'll let that one sit out there.
Okay, let's head over to Germany, the Bundesliga. So this was a lot closer of a race last year than people thought. 8 points. Bayern won the league. But I think there are some pretty competitive teams in this league, honestly. Obviously, Leipzig, Leverkusen, Dortmund, Bayern, Freiburg, Frankfurt, who won the Europa last year. They're all up there usually. And I'm excited to see Leverkusen and their star player Florian Wirtz to come back from injury. I think that's going to be big. He's only 19, and I think he just started coming back from injury. So just started warming up and things like that.
I didn't even know he was hurt. What happened?
He tore his like ACL.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wait, I do remember. Actually, I do remember that.
I think we actually posted a video about Wirtz, and the day after he tore his ACL.
That sounds right. No, I'm super excited to see him like play, but also, well, first of all, you know, if you can carry in the Bundesliga, that'd be great. But also, you know, he's probably a big prospect for a lot of other teams, so it'd be good to get familiar with him.
Yeah, and I see him probably leaving Leverkusen in the next year or two. Honestly, depends how he moves on. But Leipzig, I don't know if you guys watched the Bayern Leipzig game this weekend. I think Leipzig's going to honestly take a step back. I think, and Nkunku obviously is still there, but they've just lost so many players in the last 2 or 3 years, mostly to Bayern.
Yeah.
I think they're just going to end up taking a step back. They lost Mukiele also to PSG, who was one of their best defenders. Like they lost Upamecano, and then they lost Mukiele. That midfield is getting torn apart. Leimer might still leave. Sabitzer's been gone. So there's some question marks I have for Leipzig. And Dortmund, like we talked about last week, Aller, Adeyemi, Schlotterbeck, Sule. I mean, obviously they lost Haaland and they lost Witzel. So sad. But
No.
I think Dortmund and Bayern are obviously going to be battling for it up top. So fourth, I have Leipzig at 4. And I have Leverkusen at 3.
Really, that's interesting. That'll be big for Leverkusen. I don't know last time.
Probably when Kai Havertz was there. Was when they were top 4.
I feel like last year
They finished 4th last year. They finished 3rd last year.
Oh, they finished 3rd.
over Leipzig?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought
by 6 points.
They must have come back then because they had a pretty bad dip in their season. At least I think so.
So that'll be interesting. I mean, Frankfurt wasn't even top 8 last year, and they won the European.
Yeah,
that's always a pattern. The team that goes far in the team without that much depth couldn't go far in like the domestic league, but then wins the Europa League out of nowhere or wins the FA Cup, like the domestic cups. Who won the Bayern or the German domestic cup? Was it Dortmund?
Last year, I think it was Dortmund. You would have to check though.
No, it was Leipzig.
It was Leipzig,
I think, because they just played in the Super Cup.
Oh yeah, Germany or Bayern versus Leipzig. Yeah, that would make sense. And then I have Bayern at 1, Dortmund at 2. So
yeah, I think that's probably how it will fall. I'm hoping for. I'm surprised to hear that it was only 8 points decided last year. I thought it would have been more. I think this will be. I think we talked about this even last week, but it'll be a big year for Nagelsmann because he really has gotten. I mean, he's gotten a lot of support from the team or from the ownership and whatnot. He's made a bunch of signings. Sabitzer, Mane now.
Matthias Tell, Delict.
Oh yeah.
Mazraoui, Gravenberch. Yeah, a ton. A ton.
A bunch of signings. And it's really, he last season was okay. Upamecano too. Last season was okay. It wasn't great. Exit in the Pokal, exit in the Champions League, and not kind of the utter domination in the league that they expect. So I think this is a big season for him, and he definitely needs to, I think, win the league and, at least get close to another trophy, get to another final of some sort. And I think that's how he kind of would deem his season a success, because they have put a lot of money behind him. So I think it's kind of he has to make it work now.
Yeah, he has to perform for sure. So.
Yeah, I agree with your analysis. I think it's surprising that Leipzig hasn't made that many big signings after losing Timo, after losing Tyler Adams this year. It seems like they're just like slowly deteriorating and not building up. Usually when you sell your big players, you kind of rebuild your team around, especially if you're like 3rd and 4th in the Bundesliga, you are a selling club. And Dortmund has perfected being that selling club and kind of recycling that money from like Haaland into other players. But Leipzig didn't seem like they hit it when they lost a couple of bigger players. So I agree that Leipzig's going to fall, and I think it's top 3. Leverkusen going to sneak in there.
Yeah, it's sad to see because they're such a big club. I mean, it's Red Bull.
You think Leverkusen can get higher up?
Like to 2?
Yeah. Well, because it's also interesting because Aller has cancer now. So he'll have to go through treatment.
Yeah, I think it's 3 or 4 months.
He can play
at
some point this season,
Yep.
So that'll definitely hurt them because then they're kind of without a striker.
Yeah.
I don't know who they're, but I guess they have
Adeyemi,
Daniel Malin.
Yeah, Malin, but I expect Adeyemi probably to play up top because he played up top for, I think, Salzburg.
Yeah, I mean.
But he's a smaller striker. I mean, he would be like Timo.
Thinking, right.
He would be like Timo.
Or Haaland. I was saying he wouldn't be like Haaland or Aller, who are bigger strikers.
Yes. So I just think Dortmund has been like, they got new pieces, but they still have Bellingham. They still have Royce, still have Hazard. And I'm excited to see Bellingham play in this new year because this is probably his last year in the Bundesliga. So that'll be probably not as competitive, but definitely that's what I'll be watching. So, but we can move over to what I think is the most competitive league.
Let's switch it up.
What do you guys think?
Serie A.
You think the most competitive? Yeah, probably Serie A.
Yeah, agreed. So Serie A, AC Milan won last year, first time since 2010, but it was so close. I mean, Inter was up until the last final weeks, and then they kind of lost it within the last 5 games.
Andanovic.
Yeah, I mean, that was in the, I think, Coppa Italia too. He made some huge mistakes, but they won by 2 points. Napoli's right behind them by a few points. Juve at 4th, and I mean, Roma finished at 6th last year, and they made so many moves. I mean, Dybala, Mourinho gets another year with that team. Tammy had a great year, so I think this is going to be really competitive and super fun to watch. I mean, Juve obviously made a ton of moves. They lost Dybala, they lost some players, but like they lost De Ligt, but they got De Ligt's replacement in the center back from, I think, Fiorentina, Bremer.
Mm-hmm.
They lost Chiellini, they lost Bernardeschi, but they brought in Di Maria, Paul Pogba, and I think someone else, but I'm not sure right now. But I have Juve finishing at 4th.
Really? Even with all those signings?
Yeah.
How come?
I don't think it's because Juve's bad. I think the 3 other teams I have are better.
Yeah, I want to see what you say because I think it does take some time for a new team to like implement, to mesh, and it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a brand new squad. I think on paper they look good, but I think it'll take time to build up the chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fair.
What you got?
Who you have in 3rd? Then we can kind of.
I have Roma jumping from 6th to 3rd.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I think I agree. That was the team that jumped out because I think Napoli is gonna. I assume Napoli's out of that top 4.
Yeah, they're out of my top 4.
And they're losing. 3rd. They're losing all their stars. They're just like getting rid of all their.
Lost,
I mean, Koulibaly's the big one.
Koulibaly and Insigne.
Yeah, is Mertens still there? I feel like Mertens
is there. He's just older.
He's old. Yeah, they're just getting rid of their stars, and it's very very sad to be.
It's very sad. I mean, who's there? Osimhen?
They were so close. They were so close up until the last like couple weeks or a month or so.
Yep. So Napoli's out of my top ones, and then my top 2. Do you guys want to guess?
It's gonna be the Milans, but I think I'm putting Inter up,
I would put
top.
Inter, yeah. That was what I would guess.
Yeah, I've Inter. AC Milan get Divock Origi. Let's go.
Yeah, that's huge. So they can put them up next to Ibra and Giroud. Huge. 3.
Lit strikers, lit super subs for sure.
Well, that's a problem. They're all superstars, and then Rafael has to carry.
It's crazy. But I mean, my thing about Serie A is I think it's the most competitive league, but I think their top teams are not as competitive as the top teams in other leagues. Because if you see, true. I mean, Bundesliga is Bayern, PSG is in League One. Obviously, you have the Prem, and then you have the 2 or 3 superpowers in La Liga. But if you see AC Milan, they won the league last year. They were out before the knockouts in the Champions League. Inter, unfortunately, played Liverpool, but they were out. Juventus lost to Villarreal. I mean, all their teams were out very, very early. I mean, like in the knockouts or before the knockouts in the group stages, and then one team made it to the knockouts. So I'm hoping that the league itself, like they have some more success in the Champions League, because in our lifetime, I feel like we've only really seen Juventus have success at that level, at the like final, like quarterfinals, semifinals, like that type of level.
I think Inter, if they didn't come up against Liverpool, would have gone pretty far and probably would have gone to the semis or maybe in the final.
Really?
I thought Inter got so unlucky against those two legs.
They played really well against Liverpool.
I think they outperformed them at least one of those games. Second game, not so much. But when I watch Inter, they're so composed. They will work the ball up and towards the goal, not have a chance, work the ball all the way back around, and just so patient, waiting for their chance. And yeah, they're pretty much the same team. Have they added or lost anyone, do you think?
Number 90, Big Rom.
Oh, yeah. They're added, they might be better. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
they're probably going to be better with Rom back in there.
Yeah, because then you have Dzeko, Martinez, and Lukaku.
Yeah.
That's killer.
I think they added Correa from Lazio and Mkhitaryan too. But I mean, Mkhitaryan's older. But
Correa was there last year.
Oh, maybe they just finalized his loan.
Yeah,
maybe it was like loaned out or something like that. But
Who was the other one?
Mkhitaryan.
Oh, okay.
From Roma? Yeah, he's great.
From Roma, yeah. Used to be on United. Used to be on Dortmund.
Yeah, it didn't really work there, did it?
But that'll be big. And then
I'm interested to see Roma versus Juve will be interesting because yes, Roma are good. They're kind of the exciting team. They're the team I think we all want to do well. But Juve are also Juve, and they do have a very good team. And it could take a little bit to get going, but they have a lot of time. They have a full season if this is just between third and fourth. Mm-hmm. They have a full season to come back. They also have Vlahovic on his second year, feeling a little bit more comfortable. Zakaria in the midfield there as well.
McKennie.
McKennie's in there. But, they have a very good team still. Chiesa probably coming back from injury. So I think I want Roma to do well, but I think that's going to be quite the battle.
Yeah. Sorry, Tammy and Dybala are going to combine for 50 goals.
Okay.
Dybala's going to play all the games for the first time ever.
Did you guys see how Dybala got shown to the fans?
Awesome.
When they debuted him, he was sitting on the steps with a whole Rome background with the columns there. It looked like Zeus was walking out.
I don't know. It was probably on some monument. I'm not sure what it
was.
But.
Where was it?
And it was at night. Tom, you got to watch this video.
Yeah. I was there. I studied abroad in Rome.
All the fans are out there. It's at nighttime. There's fires going on. It just looked beautiful, honestly.
Yeah. That was pretty cool.
Player reveal.
I'm also so glad he did not go to Inter. That would have been such a bad. He would have just disrespected all of Juve.
Yeah.
Since they are more rivals, at least than Roma. Since Roma, he's going there to kind of help build this team more.
Yep.
If he's going to Inter, he's going just kind of
to compete
through the back door,
basically.
just to compete directly with Juve. I guess we are talking about the third and fourth battle here, but
yeah.
I think I'm very excited to see him play at Roma.
Yeah, I'm excited. All right, Spain, La Liga, top four. I can give you the top four last year.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Real Madrid, Barcelona. Real Madrid won by 13 points. Atletico Madrid, 2 points behind Barcelona, and then Sevilla, 1 point behind Atletico Madrid. And then it was Real Betis.
Three points between the 3 points?
3 points between second, third, and fourth.
Wow. So
super close. Obviously, Barcelona made a lot of changes. Real Madrid made a few changes. It wasn't even a race last year. It wasn't even close. And I expect it to be just neck and neck this year. Neck and neck. Fourth is a pretty familiar team that finished seventh last year, had a lot of Champions League success. And I'm putting Villarreal at 4. I think they played really well. Unai Emery's still the coach. Sevilla had a great year. Real Betis and Real Sociedad finished above Villarreal, who finished 7th last year. But I like Villarreal because I think after having such a good season, I feel like your team just breathes confidence. And I think they know that they can compete against these big teams.
Yeah, I don't doubt their confidence. I think I'm just looking at it on paper, and we've talked about like the difference between going far in a cup versus going farther in the league. And what helps you in the league really is numbers and like squad depth. And that's where I think a team like Sevilla or Betis really, overshadows Villarreal. So that being said, I don't dislike your prediction, but I do think that's kind of, I think Sevilla are good. I think they'll still be good next year. But okay.
Villarreal is very inconsistent. They're extremely inconsistent. 3, I feel like they're always in third place. Literally always in third place. Atletico Madrid. I mean, I feel like it's almost boring at this point.
2 years ago.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, there's not much to say. João Felix is still there. Simeone is still there. Oblak has to have a better year. I mean, he has to have a better year.
How do you both think about Simeone being there for so long? Do you think maybe it's time? Obviously they won 2 years ago, but they kind of won because Real Madrid and Barcelona weren't that good. Like, do you think do they need to switch it up? Or is that the reason they're not, is it just the reason they're competing with the 2 best teams in the planet, or like the 2 biggest clubs in the planet, basically?
Right. I honestly think that Simeone gives them the best chance or like the most consistent chance to always be in the race. Maybe if you want to switch it up, that's riskier. You can like creating a new system and a new culture around that Atletico Madrid side would be insanely difficult. Like bringing an attacking culture there would be crazy. It'd be like heresy.
2 for 2, Tommy.
Let's go. But we saw that with Burnley. They kind of took a risk at the end of last season, more defensive, like bullying soccer. They took a risk and it failed because they got relegated. I think it could be interesting in the next couple of years to see where Barcelona is their trajectory, and if Atletico Madrid wants something new to really kind of like, I feel like they have the funds to bring in something exciting there. It'll just take 3 or 4 years to break that Simeone culture,
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's always hard because you're never gonna compete, or you don't have the resources as Real Madrid and Barcelona have. But I agree with Tom. I think Simeone gives them the best chance to win. So, and then top 2, back to the biggest rivalry in soccer and football, Real Madrid, Barcelona. Like I said, not even close last year, but new Barcelona team, Lewandowski, Rafinha, Koundé, Christensen, Dembele re-signed, obviously, Aspi, Kessié. I mean, Aubameyang and Ferran Torres, they've only had them since January of last year.
That's a crazy amount of players.
So they're going to have a full season with all these players if they're able to register them all, right? And assuming they are somehow, they're going up against, a Real Madrid team that won La Liga, that won the Champions League, had one of the toughest Champions League opponents. I mean, City, they played Chelsea, they played PSG. But I think even with Madrid's new signings, I mean, they got Tchouaméni, they got Rudiger. I think for a team that won the Champions League and won La Liga, they have still so many question marks on that team. So I think they're testing out Rudiger playing at left back. I don't know if you guys saw that. I don't think they know fully what type of system they're going to play. Are they going to play 3 in the back? Are they going to play 4 in the back? Are they going to have Alaba play left back? Is he going to stay at center back? They have so many midfielders. Who are their midfielders going to be? Is Vinny going to play on the right? Is Hazard going to play on the left? Like, for a team that won the Champions League and La Liga, I think there's so many questions there. And
who's Benzema's backup? Like that's another question.
Jokic?
Yeah, it's Luka Jovic. Is he still there?
No, he got Jovic.
Back to Frankfurt?
No, I don't know where he went. I think I
said Nikola Jokic.
Nikola over from basketball. No, but I think they have a lot of questions, and that's not to say that Barcelona also do not have a lot of questions on like how this team is going to play together. But I don't think it's going to be overwhelmingly Real Madrid as favorites. I think.
That's for Fiorentina.
Who do you have? Who's your number one?
I have Barcelona
Ooh.
winning, and I think it's going to be. Obviously, we're going to compare Lewandowski and Benzema all season, but I think Barcelona is going to take it next year, and they're going to be top of La Liga again.
I think I agree.
You kind of convinced me with that Real Madrid argument, because I'm thinking with Kroos and Modric, very aging midfielders. I feel like they're not. Yeah, they don't have like a set 11 with like substitutes, and that's what you need for a full season. I think it's gonna be exciting with Barcelona actually pressuring them to like last season was just they ran away with it, so they didn't have to try as hard. I still think Real Madrid are gonna win.
Really?
Yeah, I think Benzema and Vinny are too good. I think they're like what we see in the Champions League is definitely like a tournament team, but I also think winning by 13 points isn't like not a achievement. I think they still got a much better team as of now, and Barcelona still has a long way to go. I think they're definitely going to be better. It's definitely going to be closer, but I think Madrid still has it.
I'm definitely going to watch a lot of La Liga this year, because usually I just watch the big ones, El Clasico, and then I'll watch like Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid and some other games, but only if I have time.
Yeah, I think for this one I'm going to stick with my squad depth argument. I think Barcelona, all these players, like what I talked about last week, they have all these different attackers for different situations. Now they have Koundé as well, Christensen on defense. I think that carries them across the line in the long run. I'll never know what's going to happen when Ancelotti raises his eyebrow, but I don't know. I think Real Madrid are I think they're doing a very good job of transitioning their squad. I would call last year a transitioning year for them, and they still won the Champions League and La Liga, like we just said. But I think what they're doing is over these, the past couple of years is kind of transitioning their squad. We see that in their midfield very clearly. In their attack, now they have Vinicius coming in. They have Rodrigo, who I think will have a bigger role this season. They heavily planned on having Mbappe there. I think we have to remember that as well, who would kind of play along Benzema, and maybe Benzema's there for another year, and then Benzema moves on. So I think now I don't think they planned on not having Mbappe. So I think obviously they've had plenty of time to try to resolve that at this point, but it's not like there's that many other players of that caliber out there, especially ones that would be available to buy. So I think it'll be close. I think Barcelona will edge them out, but I do think Real Madrid, I think this is kind of a step back from the title race, but I just think they're doing a very good job about kind of slowly rotating their squad and kind of turning over a new team and remaining competitive consistently.
Yep, I agree. And speaking of squad depth, we can go over we can go over to the English Premier League and look at squad depth. This is
a lot of players there.
Top league in the world. A lot of talent, you could say. I feel like top four last year: Man City, Liverpool. Obviously, came down to the last match day, and then you have a little bit of a drop off, like 18 points to Chelsea, Tottenham, and then Arsenal at fifth.
How much was between Chelsea and Tottenham at the end?
3 points.
Gee.
And then between Tottenham and Arsenal was 2 points. So that fourth spot is so crucial. And it's going to be a battle next year. It was a battle last year. It's going to be a battle next year. But I do have your boys, Chelsea, sliding at 4. I do think Chelsea need to be careful, though. So last year, they won less games than Tottenham and Arsenal. They don't win as many games as them. They lose less games, but they tie a ton of games. They have 11 ties. Arsenal had 3 ties last year. They had 22 wins, 13 losses and 3 ties. Like they either win or lose,
Yeah.
basically. Chelsea had 11 ties, 6 losses, 21 wins. So I think it's going to come down to like, is Chelsea going to be able to score goals, and hopefully bringing in someone like Sterling and figuring out who the front three are and figuring out exactly what system is going to work for them. Chelsea need to score goals.
I think
That'll be big.
Yeah, I think my initial thoughts on Chelsea are that, okay, yes, their transfer window hasn't been great, and teams like Tottenham and Arsenal have had spectacular transfer windows, and so those two teams are really trying to close the gap because they see Chelsea as vulnerable and they see a chance to kind of step over them. That being said, I do think Chelsea, even that's these couple preseason games where you could see Tuchel kind of figuring things out a little bit, giving Mount, Havertz, and Sterling a little bit more time together, and they looked great. I think their finishing was still an issue, but they were getting the chances in. Their movement off each other was very good. They seemed to kind of be connecting very well, which was exciting to see because I don't think it was obviously preseason, you can't really you got to take it with a grain of salt. But I think those three were connecting some of like the best I've seen out of any 3 Chelsea attackers over the past 2 years, which was exciting to see. I think, Kai got hurt last year, but his fitness record is still pretty good. Mount's is pretty good. Sterling's is very good. So I'm hopeful that we can have a more consistent starting 3 this season. And then I think the other good aspect, and this is kind of contingent on the rest of their transfer window, but they're heavily linked with Cucurella right now, and I know they're also looking at Denzel Dumfries. If they can get 2 other like top quality wingbacks, I think that'll be huge. Because last season, James and Chilwell both got hurt, and Chelsea tanked. Their system was gone. They didn't have those 2 players in there that could do the job that they needed. And they had to look to Alonso. They had to look to Azpilicueta, who just aren't the same player. They don't have. They're not as good, And so when their system is that reliant on those positions, those wingbacks, and they go missing, it really hurt Chelsea last year. And so I think it's good that they're looking to add some depth to those positions, but they're looking to add serious depth, like 50 million on a backup left back. So I think I assume that's what that is. Because I was like, why would they go for Cucurella when they have Chilwell and Alonso still there as of now, and they have Emerson Palmieri? We don't need 4 left backs.
Right.
But what we need is a consistency in that position.
I saw the Dumfries rumors, and that kind of told me that maybe they're going to play Reece at that right center back position. Like that's what they're planning on.
It's just good to have. If we have Dumfries on the right and Reece can play, he's played there almost half the time last year. And then when Dumfries has a break, Reece can play on that right side, and Reece can get a break. It's just like
Chalobah can go in there.
The fact that Reece can play both positions just provides us with depth in both of those positions, which is great. But we just need another right back, right center, or right wing back to have. We don't have a backup really because Asby is getting old, might leave, and he just like can't play that position as well as Reece.
Yeah,
not nearly as well as Dumfries if we bring him in.
I love Dumfries too. I mean, he's young. He's like 25, 26. So yeah, Chelsea at 4 for me. 3.
This is the bigger pick here because this means who did you leave out of the top 4?
3, I have Arsenal. 3 of Arsenal.
Interesting. Okay.
I think Arsenal just made so many good moves this offseason. I believe in Arteta. I think the players believe in Arteta. It's not that Tottenham didn't have a great transfer window either. I just like a lot more of Arsenal's players than I do Tottenham. And obviously,
so it's just preference.
It's just preference. It's just preference. But like Richarlison, I really am not a big fan of Richarlison. Like, especially when they have Harry Kane up top.
You don't think he's that good, or you just don't like him?
Both. Both. I don't think he's that good.
Okay.
I don't think he's that good. And I think Arsenal's team is going to be fire. Like, I think they're going to be fun to watch. 2, I think they're going to be able to score goals. And I think it's going to be a really I think they're going to finish third, honestly. I think they're going to be hot. And I think they're going into the season hot, too. They have expectations.
You go first.
They beat Sevilla 6-0. Did you see that? I kind of watched the highlights and I watched kind of an analysis of it. Arteta has finally gotten to the point where he can kind of mimic Pep. He was using a 2-3-5 in attack phase, and they're using Xhaka as kind of like running through and being that fifth attacker sometimes. And they just like, I feel like finally the Arteta project is panning out, and he has all the players necessary in order to actually compete, actually like put a team on the field that makes sense and how he's trained as, and how Pep trained him to coach. And they look dangerous against Sevilla. They scored 6, conceded none against a good Sevilla side.
Beat Chelsea 4-0.
Yeah. Like, they are looking great this preseason. Granted, it's preseason, but it looks like they finally have put together a squad that is that squad. And I don't think they're going to compete. I agree in third. I don't think they're as good as Liverpool and City yet, but it's like a young version. It's like an exciting version of those.
It's an exciting version. Would you put Tottenham 3?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I want Chelsea to do well, but both these teams are right there with Chelsea. Tottenham, Arsenal, and Chelsea are so close. All 3 of them, I think. I think Tottenham. Don't overlook Tottenham because they brought in Richarlison, they brought in Perisic as well, who has that connection with Conte. They brought in Basuma in the middle, who's a great player, experience in the Premier League. So I don't know if I would say Chelsea's in 5th or Tottenham's in 5th or Arsenal's in 5th or what that order goes, but I think that'll be crazy close. I do think. I agree. Arsenal really has impressed me this preseason. But same thing. I mean, at Tottenham, have Antonio Conte, which, I guess don't forget. But I don't know if that means...
At this moment in time, I think
Tottenham, Arsenal. Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal.
At this moment in time, I think Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea.
I was starting at the bottom. I think Tottenham in 6th. Chelsea in 5th, Arsenal in 4th, and you're saying you would have Chelsea in...
Wait, 3rd, 4th, 5th.
Yes.
What were you saying?
3rd, 4th, 5th.
Yes.
3rd, 4th, 5th.
I would say Tottenham at this moment have a more cohesive side than Chelsea, because Chelsea just don't have center backs locked down, don't have a backup at the right back, and just like can't score goals. I think Sterling will help with that, but I think just the trajectories, like Chelsea are on a downward trajectory that we're trying to pump up right now. At Tottenham with Conte, have a clear system, clear ideas, and it seems like they're gonna come running. They're gonna start running, and I think they're gonna come in 4th if Chelsea don't make key signings the last minute of the transfer.
That's what it's gonna come down to, is kind of how they wrap up these. That's why I think almost like these type of predictions are so tough, because they're so contingent again on who people sign or who people sign. I am looking forward to Chelsea playing this weekend, of course, but they're playing Everton and they always play poorly against Everton. And I want them to start off the season strong. I don't want there to be these kind of tremors in the team already. So I'm hoping that they put them away.
Yep. Season starting this weekend. Transfer window ending.
Let's hear your 1 and 2.
Ending September 1st. 1 and 2. I still have Liverpool at 2 and City at 1. I think big games is different. I think Liverpool plays better in big games than Manchester City. But over a span for the season, especially with the transfer window that Manchester City had, I mean, they got Haaland, they got Calvin Phillips. I think Grealish plays better this year. Alvarez is up top. I mean, they have so much depth. They have more depth than Liverpool does. So throughout the season, I think they're just going to dominate.
I think Man City got slightly worse and Liverpool got slightly better over this transfer window. I think
How'd they get worse?
Calvin Phillips isn't as good as Rodri, so that's not an improvement. That's just depth.
Well, Rodri's there.
Yeah, but Rodri's there. They're not losing him.
They're not losing him, but
so how does the addition of...
I'm saying no. They lost Jesus and Sterling to like sorry. I should have started with Sterling and Jesus. They lost. Two guys that have been there for 3 or 4 years that know the system well. They brought in Haaland and Alvarez, who don't know the system as well. And I think Haaland might be as good, but honestly, I'm still not sold that Haaland's going to really click with that system. So I think, and to start, they're not going to be as good as of a team as when Jesus and Sterling were there as those options, as just like system pieces in that system. I think Liverpool did a better job in getting Nunez as a player that fits really well with their system, a direct player that just attacks the goal.
I don't know if he does. Like, I don't know if, I mean, like, I think they both play differently. They're both like true strikers, which neither of them had before.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like, Darwin Nunez isn't Sadio Mane. He can't play in that kind of false nine role. He can't play across the line. He's much more of a true striker who needs that ball over the top, or who's looking for that through ball, whereas Mane is much more versatile. I'm not saying he's better or worse, but I think he's much more versatile. So, I mean, I guess I'm not picking a side about who I think is going to win yet, but I don't think it's that like crystal clear that Haaland doesn't fit and Nunez does. I think they're both kind of interested, or like unpredicted signings, maybe, just as far as how they fit into the team.
Yep.
Because both teams will have to adapt to that. And I think that's what's going to happen more than those players adapting to the system. I think the rest of the system is going to have to fit to them just based off of the profile of player that they are.
Yes. And what I've seen so far, I think Liverpool has done a better job of integrating Nunez into their squad. I mean, they're playing like the over the top balls to Nunez, throwing in crosses. City hasn't really done that to Haaland. And also Haaland's a big guy, but he doesn't score headers like almost ever. Like he talks about like headers are his weakest part of his game.
Yeah.
And he's like 6'4", 6'3", whatever. So I think that's something he has to improve on, but I don't see City losing the league, honestly. I see
Liverpool. I think
Jesus and Sterling.
That goal that Trent scored, I think Trent's going to be even better this year. I don't know. It seems like Liverpool. It just seems slightly better. I don't want to say that they haven't won in a few years, so City's obviously going to lose, because I don't think that's real. I think they both equally want it as bad, and I think it's pretty equal. But something's telling me Liverpool it's this year. It's just like their slight edge currently with how they're integrating their players, I think is pushing me.
Yeah, I think I'm going Liverpool too, and I think it's not even on the signings, but I like that point, Tom, where City lost those system players. And we talk about they have more depth, but that depth, some of it left. They lost Jesus, they lost Zinchenko and Sterling. All those players were huge last season. Zinchenko came in and had some like ridiculously good games. Same with Gabriel Jesus. So I think that's a big loss. And I think that's kind of what I'm not really surprised that City has made good signings. I think Calvin Phillips, is a very good signing. I think he's a great player. I think it's good that he'll give Rodri some backup, because Rodri didn't really have that. And Calvin Phillips is better than Fernandinho at this point in his career, just because he's that much younger. But I think that lack of, or those system players that are going out on City's end, I think is going to put Liverpool over. And I'm trying to remember what happened to City last year. Like what was their stumble? Because they really did have it kind of in the bag, and then it was just like little games here and there is how it happens. I don't remember if there was any like significant reason. It wasn't like a big injury. It was just little by little. It
was unlucky games, but Liverpool also had a stretch of unlucky games earlier in the season. So it seemed like City was winning the league. It was just they had a little stumbles, but it wasn't even stumbles. It was just unlucky games at different times. They had pretty much the exact same expected goal difference at the end of the season. They're just so close.
I'm so excited. It's such a good race every year.
Yeah. I mean, the goal differential between those two teams are like 5 goals. Both of them scored like 99 goals, 94 goals, led in 26 goals. like both of them let in only 26 goals. Like it's so close between those two teams.
All right, gentlemen, wake up. Wait, no, I'm gonna
wake up.
We're awake. Okay. All right, let's jump into
just like
smelling salt time.
I'm cozy.
I know it's kind of nice in here.
It's dark now. It's dark out.
All right, let's jump into our last segment here. Our mini game show. Max, you did some fun events for us last week. I just have some questions for you. So I have
interview.
Four questions. Let's interview. Max, tell me about your first kiss.
It was just
okay. Anyway,
it was I know exactly who it was.
No, so they're just 4 questions. You'll each get to answer them once. I guess I'll pull up a timer for you guys so you can, just so it doesn't get overboard. But Max, I'll let you go first.
Let's do it.
What has been the best transfer so far this transfer window? On the clock.
Tick, 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 tick. Non-biased, obviously. I think Sadio Mane. I mean, for Bayern, I think they knew that they were losing Lewandowski. They knew that they were losing him. Sadio Mane is, you could argue, is like top 5. Some people would argue top 3, honestly, right now, with the season that he had last year.
Top 3 players?
Player. Like,
okay,
like there are people that think that he's better than Salah on his team. He's so versatile. He fits right in at Bayern, and we got him for a steal. I mean, he was like 30 million for a top 5 player. I mean, if you want to really be picky, a top 10 player in the world for $30 million at the top of his game, like he's 29, 30 years old. I think that's the best transfer by far.
9 seconds. Anything else?
Sadio.
All right. Tommy, who do you think the best signing of the transfer window has been?
I think in terms of fit and value, it's Gabriel Jesus to Arsenal. From City to Arsenal, he's proven in the Premier League. He's proven as a big game player, and he fits Arsenal's system. He fits as an all-around player. He can drift out wide. He can drift right, left, and like helping in the build-up play, but also score goals. And in that game against Sevilla, he was playing everywhere, and he was kind of, I think that's a huge part of how they played with Lacazette, but with the goals. You know, it's just like adding a Lacazette who can score for really cheap, and probably a better Lacazette who can score. It's just a great signing. So
Tommy, I think I agree with you. I think those are both phenomenal signings. First of all, I think Mane's value is incredible for the amount of money they bought him for. I think the difference why I'm choosing Lacazette or choosing Jesus is because I think he fits into Arsenal a little bit better, or better yet, replaces Lacazette and kind of improves on it. Whereas Mane does not replace Lewandowski and still kind of leaves a question about how the system works. What are they going to do offensively?
Yes.
So I think that's just, I mean, maybe not talking about the signing, but just a question about Bayern in general.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Tom, you're up again. Which team has disappointed you the most this transfer window?
I'm going to throw it back to earlier in conversation. Real Madrid. I don't think they have addressed their issues, as Max has said. They got Rudiger, but where's he going to play? They already have Militao and Alaba. They got Tchouaméni, but he's another defensive mid where they have Camavinga and Casemiro already there. They need to address their attacking mids, and they need to address their right wing. Is it going to be Rodrigo? And they just need more depth in their attack. It can't just be Vinny and Benzema and then put in their third player. I think they needed more. They can't be complacent with Champions League winners. They gotta do better.
All right, fair enough. Let me get the clock back out for you.
Yeah.
We got boing incoming. That's the sound effect. All right. Boing. Max, which team has been the most disappointing for you this transfer window?
There are a few, but I would say the top one is Man United. I mean, I feel like we heard once Ten Hag took over, like all these changes that are going to happen, they're going to sell all these players. Rashford's going to be gone. Like a complete overhaul of the team. And for the most part, the team looks identical. For the most part, it looks identical. I mean, they made some signings. They got like Malacia, left back, Eriksson at Cam. But like now you also have an unhappy Ronaldo on the team. And I don't know if you guys saw Ronaldo over the weekend, but he's like ignoring Ten Hag during like a water break and not even making eye contact with players. Obviously, there was the whole thing, him leaving at halftime, but like a lot of players left at halftime apparently. But they haven't done anything. So that's the most disappointing transfer window for me.
Yeah, I think that is a pretty fair one. I think that is a good point on Ronaldo as well, about just how handling that situation, and it's so public now. I mean, obviously you kind of always get that when you're working with Ronaldo, unfortunately, but I do think that is a big issue as well. All right, this one's a little bit more fun. Max, who is your breakout star of this season?
Breakout star, Paul Pogba. We know he's a breakout star. I mean, he hasn't played at the level that we know he can play at, right? And so I think he will go back to Juve and he will regain the form. He's gonna play like he plays on France. Honestly, I think it's gonna be his team and it's gonna be his midfield. And at United, we never really saw the $100 million worth of Paul Pogba that they paid for. And I think him going to Juve is going to be a rejuvenation of his form. And I think he's going to be a breakout star for this year.
I'm trying to think if that qualifies as a breakout star, but I'll give it to you. All right, Max, what is your wild prediction for this upcoming season?
Lewandowski scores less than 15 goals this year.
That is a wild prediction.
This is wild. This is wild. And obviously I'm big on Lewandowski, but I think he's going to struggle at the beginning of Barcelona. I mean, has he scored yet? I mean, I know it's only friendlies, but I don't think he scored. And I think he's going to struggle at the beginning. All competitions, 15 goals. You heard it here first.
All competitions? Not even just the league?
Okay, let's just do league. Just league.
No, we'll
league.
just... No. You said it. The timer was up after.
Timer up. Froze. It's locked in.
All right, Thomas. What is your wild prediction for this upcoming season?
This might not be too wild, but I think Brighton, Hove, and Albion are going to be in a Europa League spot at the end of the next season. I think they are the team that impressed me most out of those like mid-tier table sides. I think they have a great system, great players, fun players with Cucurella, and I don't know who else they have. They have like
Lamptey.
Yeah, Lamptey. I love Lamptey. But just like every time I watch them, they can compete with the top teams. They've competed with Chelsea. They've beaten Chelsea. They've competed with City. I feel like because they're such a system squad, they can compete throughout the year, and I think they're better than United at times, than West Ham. West Ham might be tough to beat to sneak into that sixth spot, but I think they're going to be there.
Tom, I think that is a good pick. I think Graham Potter has shown that he's like a top level coach. So I'm interested. I mean, I'm curious to see how long he'll stay with Brighton, because I do think he's done really good things there. I do think them losing Bissouma is going to be tough. I haven't kept close enough eye on who they've brought in, but obviously Bissouma going out is a pretty big loss for them. And, you know, if you're talking about those two other spots being United and West Ham, that is tricky. But I do like the pick. I do agree. Brighton are pretty good. Okay, well, I think that does it for this week. Thank you all for watching. Next time we're talking, we will have some soccer to talk about, some scores to report on. Yeah. So I think we're all pretty excited. Big weekend ahead. So thank you all for joining. Thank you all for watching and listening and supporting us throughout. We really appreciate it, and we will see you next week.
Peace.